a lot of the variations of the living environment. But still, it has an openness. It's very, very amazing because it has an openness, but at the same time, you will feel you are surrounded by smaller pieces, again, like a Tokyo's, floating smaller floors or thin columns, or of course your furnitures or books you have, or vegetations. Every kind of the things is floating around you to create the territory, comfortable territories for you. Again, this is the Tokyo situations. How we make the place is almost similar to the Tokyo situations. And this is the location of this house is in the middle of the really typical Tokyo back street areas. Small street or small houses are crowded together. So according to such a context, I felt such kind of a collecting smaller things to create your territories is fitting to the situation. And again, this is actually, she and he are the client, and these guys are from my office, just to make the situation cherry up. Because of course, for two people, it's okay. But if you have a friends, two more friends, or 10 more friends, then the whole situation looks so different. And if you have 10 friends, then each of them should have to go up or something like that. Every different levels could be used for like a small stadium. But then it's so different situations than the two families are staying in there. And actually, at the beginning they said sometimes they have 6 or 8 friends coming together in their house. So in that sense, I was expecting such kind of a so different way to use the same place. And this is the view from the neighbor's terrace. And you will see again how Tokyo are made by smaller things. Yeah, the neighbors is collecting these small things together to create her own forest. So this is a typical Tokyo way to make a greens in the city. So small greens coming together to create the Tokyo green, and the small flowers are floating here to create the Tokyo residential areas. So of course, I found out after this Iwanban photo such kind of things that accidentally it is, I would say, it has a relations to the neighbors. And then another one, almost the same. Oh, sorry.
C'est bon, vous voulez que je me pose? On voit toujours la suite des mêmes idées, avec toujours donc, dans la ville de Tokyo, avec ces espaces très petits, ces éléments très petits. Donc au lieu de faire une petite maison avec finalement des éléments très classiques, avec des pièces banales, et il a décidé de faire quelque chose avec beaucoup de petits éléments, où on retrouve donc toujours ce lien entre mobilier et architecture. Et on peut considérer que c'est du mobilier, comme on peut considérer qu'il y a 20 étages dans la maison, que ce sont que des étages, c'est une table, c'est un banc, c'est une chaise, ce sont des étagères, des escaliers. Ça a été demandé par le client, un couple qui a clairement dit qu'il se déplaçait énormément dans la vie de tous les jours, dans leur façon de vivre. Ils avaient donc le mode de vie, qu'on appelle ça, nomade. Jamais au même endroit pour utiliser l'ordinateur, pour s'asseoir. Donc c'est eux qui ont fait la demande relativement surprenante d'avoir une maison très ouverte sur plusieurs étages où on a les éléments d'architecture qui servent aussi comme éléments de mobilier.
And this is another private house or summer house project in Spain. And the basic idea is, in a sense, similar to the serpentine things or the previous things, using the thin frames to create the territories of their house. But in this case, the appearance is so different because we used the natural wood, natural timber elements to make the grid. And the starting point was, this is Spain, so the strong sunlight is the good character of this area. So I tried to create a nice shade against such a strong sunlight and still create the nice ventilations and the nice showers of the sunlight is coming in. So try to create such a shade by the grid, but try to using the natural timber structure because maybe, I'm not sure what I was thinking about at the time, but maybe the good contrast of this strong grids and this irregular shape of the grids could create something between, in a sense, between nature things and architecture things together. So, and of course, it has a different densities in these structural things, according to the structural meanings and according to the shade function things. And some areas you could have the terraces in the middle of this area. So you walk up in the middle of this wooden structures to have like a tree house in the middle of the artificial trees or something like that. And this is the view inside. So all the frames are made by timber structures, and we put the glass box inside of that. So the ceilings and walls are all glass, open to the surroundings, but the roofs are nicely shaded by the wooden structures, and then some of the view to the beautiful surroundings are completely open. And even inside of these territories by the wooden structures, we have a terrace, outside terrace, and inside glass box, and more inside bedroom area made by the stone walls. So try to create such kind of gradations. Of course, it's a very usual gradations, but the sleeping areas and open living space and open terraces. When it is surrounded by these kind of wooden structures, it has a more soft impression of the gradations. And from outside, it's something like this. And it is now almost a finishing of the detailed design. So they will start construction, I hope, this year. And this is a summer house for sale. So it is designed for the developer, and the developer is planning several different summer houses designed by different architects. And they're inviting the Pencil from Chile, it's already finished. And me from Japan, and Bijoy from India, and from France, I think one guy is from France. And one from US or something like that. So it could be, I think, exciting project to show such kind of different options. Yeah, each idea is so different, so crazy different. But ours is, I don't know, it's too, I'm expecting it's too primitive, but too futuristic or something like that.
Alors là, c'est une maison de vacances en Espagne qui n'a pas encore été construite, mais qui devrait l'être cette année normalement, qui est à la vente. Donc il y a un projet avec plusieurs architectes du monde entier qui ont chacun fait une maison pour ce projet. Donc cette maison, on retrouve bien évidemment les mêmes idées. C'est une maison beaucoup plus classique à l'intérieur, donc avec le coin de nuit, coin de salon, comme une maison, on va dire, normale. Mais avec cette ossature en bois, avec les séparations verre, toit en verre, où on retrouve cet aspect assez primitif. Et ce qui fait peur d'ailleurs, c'est que ce soit un peu trop primitif, voire un peu trop futuristique pour être vendu. Ça, on verra bien. Et le but à la base, c'était comme c'est en Espagne, et donc il y a énormément de soleil, c'était de faire quelque chose d'assez fort face au soleil, qui allait faire le poids face au soleil. Donc jeu de lumière intéressante avec la couleur du bois, la pierre à l'intérieur et le verre.
And for me, important things is I don't want to limit my, how to say, architecture style like a thin white guys, because it's only one part of my architectural thinking. So the same grids, but the different appearance, different situations, then we can create so different things. So it's the same grids concept as the Serpentine Pavilion, but a so different way to go. And both of them, I think it's really, really exciting. And so sometimes the grid things, thin, white things, I don't want to limit myself within such kind of a definition of architectural style. So this next one is another really crazy expansion of the grids in a very, very different way. So this is in the Middle East country, and we are invited to the competition to design a 1 kilometer long shopping building. One shopping street or one shopping buildings. It is, yeah, as you can see, this is almost 1 kilometer or something. And of course, this is the first time for me to do something for the Middle East. So I was so excited to learn, to see how the Middle East climate or how the Middle East cultures are. And of course, it is just a simple researches, but it's still always very, very inspiring. And in this case, of course, the main part is the bottom shopping areas. But I try to create some kind of iconic or landmarking things. And then I found out the Bedouin tent of these areas. So try to create some kind of a tent-like things. And of course, these kind of arch things is another very typical Middle East things so I found out. So finally, we combined them together to create this kind of I don't know how to describe it, but a huge tent or huge peaks or something like that. But still, you could find out that each element is like a repetition of the grids, like a serpentine. The same size of the grids, and sometimes double size, or the 4 times bigger grids, the combination of such kind of a different size of the grids. But the basic structure is almost same as the serpentine. So it's, of course, the appearance is so different, and the whole expression and the whole experience is so different, but still it's the development from the simple grid structure. And this huge tower is not just just an icon, but it has a huge void, open space inside, something like this. It's almost about 100 meter or 120 meter. But inside it has a huge void. Because of this kind of a Middle East climate, we try to create such kind of a nice natural ventilations by these taller voids. The hot air is going up and the cool air is coming from the bottom. And these grids with a circular shape or arch shapes is kind of a filtering the strong sunlight for the Middle East to the particle of the lights to take in to this void areas. So that is the main concept of this project. But still, for me, it's positively surprising to get some such kind of ideas. Yeah, the one day my staff brought the very, very beginning of these sketches. It's not this kind of a peak shape, but they're using the grids to create something really, really huge. And then I thought we could use such a grids by arch shapes, and then we can use these grids by the filters for the sunlight, and then we could use it as a ventilation tower, and it could be the iconic shape of that. So various different requirements, various different conditions are coming together, put it one by one to be the one final form or solutions for this project. And yeah, it's so different from my previous project. That is why I really like it, because I feel it's expand my architectural design feelings, and still it's connecting to our architectural concept. In some area, yeah, it's really crazy. Oh, on the bottom, it's a huge water areas and the boats going on. Of course, yeah, I was thinking about the Middle East country has a huge amount of money, so I felt we could do everything. So we just proposed. But finally, we found out the competition itself cancelled. Because the king of this country just changed his mind. So that could happen. But I really, really enjoy this project. So for me, the same concept, the grids, is sometimes this kind of a really crazy expanding, or sometimes it's getting more natural using the natural timber elements, or sometimes it's using the 2 centimeter really thin white frames. So the one simple ideas could be expanded in a various different ways to create the diversities of the architectural realizations, depending on the clients, depending on the surroundings and the cultural background and the climate. So now we have all different kinds of the climates, cultural backgrounds throughout the world. So we don't have to worry about running out the ideas. The ideas, of course, it's growing according to wherever you go, whoever you meet, talk. Ideas is coming from them, and we just grow it to the amazing architecture.
Donc projet au Moyen-Orient, la première fois qu'il réalise un projet pour là-bas. Donc en intégrant sur ces mêmes éléments de base des éléments du Moyen-Orient, donc les arches, cette forme de tente des Bédouins, et avec ce problème de soleil très très fort, donc avec une filtration du soleil avec les arches et les ouvertures, et de ventilation aussi pour aider l'air chaud de partir et l'air froid qui puisse rentrer et aérer. Et bien évidemment, il y a beaucoup d'argent là-bas, il s'est permis pas mal de choses. Et puis malheureusement, le projet a été annulé parce que le roi a tout simplement changé d'avis. Ce qui est fort dommage parce que c'était un très joli projet. Mais ça a permis en tout cas de faire autre chose de cette idée de base d'ossature, que ce soit en blanc, en verre, en bois. Ça a permis de faire autre chose et de voir jusqu'où on peut aller et de savoir que même si on a une idée de base, on peut faire plein de choses avec. On n'est pas limité dans les idées viendront toujours, on peut toujours travailler sur les idées et trouver autre chose.
So now I like to going back to the very small scale things, but still it has a kind of a continuity from this Middle East 1 kilometer things, and this kind of differences of the scales is quite inspiring, because sometimes the 40 centimeter grid is expanding to a big size grid, and then we will see something new, something different from the same ideas. And this is going back to the very smaller scales, but still it has the similar kind of stepping things. This is a cafe in Taiwan, in the middle of the city. But it is not like a urban architecture, it's more like a landscaping. But the inspiration is from this kind of a small pathway in Taiwan, these areas. There are a lot of the back street of the smaller things, and it's quite nice atmosphere. So I try to create a 3-dimensional extension of this kind of a back street or small pathway. So that is why I make these kind of staircases. And also this is a cafe, so yeah, like a serpentine. Of course, it has tables and chairs, but not only such kind of a prepared space, but these staircases could be used as a seating space, something like that. So that is the meaning we try to create the architecture space by the staircases. And yeah, but the staircases is really crazy combined together. So it's like a network of the staircases. Sometimes it's getting like a roof, and sometimes it's getting just staircases or canopy or something like that. And this is Taiwan, so a lot of the strong sunlight and the heavy rains. So the whole staircases is like a floating roofs, and protected by some trees. So under the staircases, over the staircases, or in the middle of the staircases, you have various different kinds of areas. I mean, you could choose as you like.
Donc je reviens sur ce projet à Taïwan, donc qui est un café inspiré par les petites ruelles qui se trouvent là-bas, avec beaucoup d'escaliers, puisque c'est un café, bien évidemment, il faut des endroits pour pouvoir s'asseoir et boire, ou manger. Mais il n'y a pas que des tables et des chaises classiques, on peut aussi s'asseoir dans les escaliers, qui partent un peu dans tous les sens, il y a des escaliers partout, et ces escaliers, comme il y a beaucoup de soleil et aussi beaucoup de pluie, ces escaliers servent aussi de toit et de protection pour ceux qui se trouvent dedans. Il y a des arbres aussi qui protègent le tout. Donc là aussi, cette idée d'escalier qui servent d'éléments d'architecture, qui servent de mobilier, pour plusieurs fonctionnalités.
And yeah, of course, you will see in here really clear melding situation of the furniture things and architecture things and urban things and landscape things together. So it's very typical example of the in-between or positive ambiguous architecture. But in here, I couldn't explain clearly, but in here, no grid-like things is here, and the whole plan is really complicated. So I don't know why such kind of an opposite way to design things is existing in my mind. And but I'm just enjoying. Sometimes using only grid is really boring. So sometimes I like to do such kind of really crazy things and to understand how difficult it is or something like that. Anyway, next one is another very small project, and toilet. It's a public toilet project, and the public toilet is very interesting, I think, because it's in the middle of the in-between things. Because it's public, of course, but the toilet itself is really private. And the site is very open, natural area, so it should be open to enjoy the surroundings, but it should be really closed, block the view to the surroundings. So in a sense, in the programs and in the meetings, it's in between situations. Anyway, I was thinking about, yeah, we discussed about what is the ideal toilet. And finally, the conclusion is this: the huge flower bed, and in the middle the toilet. So you don't care about the surroundings, and it's really open, beautiful landscape. So such kind of an amazing, ideal toilet was the starting point. But of course, we have a limited site, and we have the neighbors' houses or something like that. So final solution was like this. It's yeah, this is a toilet. We put the glass box to block the rain and the wind, and we put the wall surroundings. Very amazing. From above, something like this. And it's just next to the train station. Glass box, but we have a wall about 2 meters high, so you couldn't see inside from outside. And you are nicely protected from the outside. Even from the train view, it's carefully blocked by this wall. If you are standing in here, you will see it, but if you sit on, you're just blocked. But anyway, the main concept is how to, it's very simple, but how to make or how to blur the boundaries of this kind of a toilet. Because toilet is requiring a strong boundaries, blocking the view and blocking everything. But we proposed blocking the view is realized by this wall, and then inside you have a garden, you have a private garden. And you have a door here, around here, and you can lock the door here. Once you are inside this garden, it's your garden, your private garden. You can do anything about it. And then you will enjoy the openness and the natural landscape of the surroundings, but still carefully blocked from the surroundings. It's, I think it's really amazing solutions to enjoy the view to the surroundings, still keeping the privacy inside. But this is the plan. It's quite simple. This is the wall, and this is the entrance. You can lock it, and yeah. But of course, if you kind of imagine some situations, it's too far to walk. But anyway. And fortunately, we have another wheelchair handicap toilet here. It's for everybody, so it's fine. But if you like to enjoy the whole openness and view to the surroundings, so we kept the existing trees and we put the green grass inside. So it is very, very small project, but clearly showing the something in between concept. And of course, these photo images taken by Yuan Ban, he hired the, I don't know how to say, lifting car, so with a bucket on it, so 10 meters something, it's lifted up. So this is not the usual viewpoint. It's a special viewpoint by the photographer. From outside, it is something like this. It's just a minimal wall in the middle of the natural landscape. And this is entrance, and inside, something like this. And this is, of course, a public toilet in Japan, and 1 hour by car from Tokyo. So if you have a lot of time in Japan, you can come in. But if you schedule is quite tight, you don't have to go. It's a strange space. Anyway, such kind of a doubling the boundaries or dividing the meaningful boundaries. One big wall is just blocking the view, and the inside wall, glass wall, and the ceilings is blocking the climate. It's the simple but a nice way to introduce nature in the middle of architecture.
Je pense pas avoir besoin de rajouter quoi que ce soit.
Okay. So, yeah, I will hurry up. This is the private house, and the image of this house is on the poster of this lecture. So this is, in a sense, a very famous project. But the concept is almost the same as this toilet. To make the walls in different layers. And in this toilet situations, the layers has a different meanings. But in this private house end, the layers is almost the same. The walls with the many openings, but with three layers. And then, like a toilet, you can introduce the natures inside of this big wall. This wall is surrounding everything, but no glass, just openings. So here is inside of the big wall, but the outside of the house. So here, inside and outside is always like how to say, confusing, positively confusing together. So we try to create such kind of a gradient boundaries. This is a usual wall dividing inside and outside, clearly. But I like to create this kind of a gradient situation, deep inside, middle inside, almost outside, completely outside, something like gradations, to create the varieties of your living environment. And it is, you will remind the Serpentine project, the wall is like the gradations. Some area is really dense and then getting more transparent, But in this case, the real space has these kind of layers. And the plan is very simple. The 3 layers to make the gradations. Outside, outside, outside but surrounded by walls. Inside, but outside this small box, so between outside, inside, deep inside. So it's kind of a nice realization of the simplicity, complexity. The plan or composition is quite simple, but the experience or the quality of the space is so complex in a positive meanings, and it's so diverse and so full of the varieties. From outside, it's like this. Big walls and small, middle box and small box. And if you step into the big box, it's outside, but it has trees covered by the structures, so it's in between spaces. And from deep inside, you will see how the 3 layers are creating this kind of a complex appearance of the surroundings. The small box, the middle box, and big box, and the cloud. So, of course, the openings is layered and nicely creating the filtering of the surroundings. So it is, in a sense, it is the strange realization of the very, very first project I showed, using the translucent glass to make the gradations. The wall and wall and wall. So in this case, not using the translucent glass, but using the wall and the different position of the openings to create more richness of the layers. And again, yeah, this is the garden, but still inside the structure. So half outside, half inside things. So this house was designed, finished in 2008, so it's almost about 5-6 years ago, but still it is one of my best pieces, and it has the very important things, as well as the very first image of this project.
Okay. Donc tout simplement des cubes qui s'imbriquent les uns devant les autres pour donner une impression très surprenante de ne pas trop savoir si on est à l'intérieur ou à l'extérieur. Donc même l'extérieur, donc le jardin de la maison est à l'intérieur. Les ouvertures dans la maison ne sont pas toutes au même endroit, donc on voit les ouvertures sans jamais trop savoir où on est exactement. Je vais laisser finir.
Okay, I think I'm almost running out of time, so maybe
5 minutes?
Oh, okay, 5 minutes. So 2 projects in 5 minutes. Yeah, this is a library and made by old bookshelves. But the composition is almost the same as this one. Made by a wall with many, many openings to make the infinite layers of the experience. And yeah, all the walls are made by bookshelves with many, many openings. And the plan is like a spiral. So you will see so many layers of the bookshelves, like this. And each bookshelf has an opening, so kind of a, how to say, infinite feelings of the depth is happening, like this. So if you like books, it's a book heaven, you're surrounded by books. If you don't like books, it's a really book hell. Anyway. It's yeah, this is showing the 2 different layers with skywalks going through. And then if you're walking up, you will see the layers of the bookshelves. And sometimes, yeah, or many times, yeah, students is frustrating, showing how comfortable this space is. But yeah, the meanings of this spiral is created with 2 different scales. One is, of course, between these walls is really comfortable, cozy, 4.5 meters something. But at the same time, it is creating the huge, wide-spreading depths of the space. So same architecture, one architecture is creating such kind of a varieties of the cozy scales and huge spreading scales as well. So again, this is kind of a between things, between smaller scales and bigger things. We have the really complex weaving of the scales. And in the evening, it's getting something like this. Okay, this is the last one.
Brièvement, donc c'est une bibliothèque avec les murs qui sont faits totalement d'étagères pour les livres, donc en forme de spirale. Et il y a des espaces assez réduits dedans avec aussi des espaces très grands. Donc ça peut être relativement cosy, comme ça peut être très grand, très aéré. Et bon, il n'y a pas toutes les étagères qui sont remplies, mais en tout cas, beaucoup de livres.
And you will see this is not the white walls, it's all made by wood. So I like to use such kind of a different materials as the white, but the final one is white. It's the urban programs, the combining the commercial exhibitions and the traffic things together to create the urban plaza and urban center in Belgrade, Serbia. There was a competition and we won the first prize, but finally competition, the project was stopped. But anyway, we did a research of the surroundings, and finally we understand this plot is the place where, from every different directions, the people is flowing. Not only people, but the traffic is flowing, and then going out to the different directions. It's something like these diagrams. So the flow of the things is coming together here and then going to the different directions. Some tourist spot or the old city area or the ferry terminals, the bus stop and the tram stations. Such kind of a flow of the things is the really good character, strong character of this place. So we just translate these diagrams into the real architecture. So using these spirals to create the many axes and many exits to the city. And from the outside it is like a small hill, but then it has a huge plaza surrounded by this spiral ramps. So it is like a how to say, urban Guggenheim by Frank Lloyd Wright or something like that. But even in the middle of these ramps, we have it is the kind of extension of the streets. So we have the cafes and the shops in the middle of that. So in that sense, it is between architecture, urban situation, and the landscape together. So for me, it is another very so different from our previous design, not using the grids, not using the straight lines. This is the first time for me to using such kind of a curving, soft shapes, but still it has the continuous concept of our design. So that is another, I don't know how to say, realization of the similar concept and in a new way. Okay, so finally, anyway, this is the last image of this presentation. Again, yeah, I was talking about something between the existing concept, architecture, we know, landscape, we know, but we don't know something between architecture and landscape. And because we don't know what it is, then we could challenge it. We could try to find out. And if you say something between furniture and architecture or nature and architecture, everything we don't know yet. So that is why we can challenge it, we can pursue it, and we could find something new and something different from the existing world. So that is my challenge and my concept of the architecture. Thank you very much.
Peut-être une ou deux questions, trois, deux. Denis.
Ah bon?
Hi, sir. I'm a big fan of yours, and I like to say that I like your projects, but the toilet thing, I've strongly mixed feelings. And actually, I study architecture in France, and there's one thing that bothers me is the communication, which is always tricky, and because our Asian language is very ambiguous. So I wanna ask you whether if you talk to your clients in person, or if you do that, how do you bridge the gap between how do you keep your communication effective? Thank you.
I'd like to make sure. Could you repeat the question again? The last part. Sorry.
Yeah, yes. It's how do you keep your communication with your clients effective? How do you make sure that how to put it? You're on the same page. How to make sure that you're on the same page? Yeah. Thank you.
You mean how I make clients to understand these kind of crazy ideas? Is that right? Actually, my clients is a very, in a sense, good client. So I didn't do any efforts to persuade or explain it. Just show the model and talk about the simple description, and then they understand. In case of the toilet, it's a public project. So the first time I explained to the city government people, they said, "Oh, it's interesting, but it's difficult. So you can think about another ideas or something like that." But then the vice mayor of the city saw the project. She was a woman. She is a woman, and then she's a young woman. And then she said, "Wow, it's fantastic. It's really, really nice." Then suddenly all the things is going on, and it's realized. So sometimes such kind of the good luck is very important. But for me, if we think about the project, if we think about the surroundings, if we think about the requirement of the clients deeply, and to create the nice solution to the client, most of the time the clients understand. If the client couldn't understand, our solution is not good enough. So that is the simple discipline I am following. So I try to understand more and more about the client's requirement or the surroundings context, and then to propose something beyond the usual understanding, but still fitting to the requirement or fitting to the surroundings. So that is the way I do it. Is there any other questions? Too hungry now? Yeah, very sorry very much for to make too long lecture, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.